Hey. Hi, guys. Welcome back. All right. So, Aries, let's go ahead and jump on in. And we're just going to ask the question: what is the intuition of Aries whispering or tapping or even pounding for our character somewhere in the back of the mind? We have an Ace of Cups. There's really nice energy of things getting better for this Aries. They know it. There's either Aries is aware that it's time they love themselves more, or they're aware that someone actually really does care about them. Now, I will say this could be a little bit of a troubled energy. If this is Aries knows that someone really does love them, they could say, "But I know that that person also struggles." You notice how they're they're kind of tangled up and they're down here, um, kind of underneath the water, so like held a little bit underneath the pressure, of emotions. We have the Hermit. We have the King of Wands. Oh, so this is starting to look like we have. This could be somebody that really does love Aries, but they really struggle to express it, or they're still busily attending to other aspects of their life. But they love the Aries regardless, and Aries knows this. We have the Chariot in the reverse. We have the Two of Pentacles in the reverse. We also have the High Priestess in the reverse. It's actually, if anything, Aries, I would say we're dealing with the King of Wands who has genuine love for our Aries. Aries knows it, and strangely, the King of Wands knows it, Aries knows it. The love is true, it's sincere, it's heartfelt, but admittedly, this character is unable to move forward. Now, the thing is, if we looked at this Chariot card upright, this is somebody who's sitting like literally in a hospital bed, and they've got not lions pulling their chariot or horses, they've just got a couple of house cats, and they're not in their helmet and carrying their emperor's staff. They've got a plunger and like a strainer on their head. We have a character who is obviously, there's a very valid reason why they're not moving forward toward the Aries right now, and it simply is, it's understood. This is not a stressful, angsty situation. Instead, it's just very straightforward. It's like, well, I know they can't come toward me right now, and I also know why. And I also know that the love is true. I know that they really do care about me. They know that I know, and it's not even a question mark, which is pretty amazing to see something that is difficult like this, but there's no wrath, there's no anger, there's no, how could you play games with my heart and my mind? Because there aren't games being played in this fictional storyline. There really aren't any games being played. That's not always the way it is, but this storyline says that. Let me just say, so actually, let's change decks. What would the King of Wands say to our Aries? Speaking of Aries, my baby is fast asleep over there. He had a very hard work day today. We have the embodiment of swords sideways, and we have the Five of Wands sideways. I'm saying, what would they want to say to Aries if they could? Um, Part of them, they don't want to burden Aries with whatever their struggles are. They don't really want to explain it until maybe they've transformed things and they're really in charge of their own life. So right now, the most they're doing is like projecting, like love out of their heart space, but they're not actually present. They really aren't right now. But it's not because they don't care. What's the message just in for Aries here? Seriously, we just got the King of Wands. A little bit at a tilted angle, but enough that I would take it mostly upright. The real message for Aries is that they know this. They already know this person has sincere feelings. That's never been in question. I mean, King of Wands to have it twice in this storyline. So let me ask this. Actually, let's change decks and let's go. Let's go here. What is maybe the best action for the Aries to take, given the situation is what it is at the moment, anyway? And things change, right? Life changes, but at the moment, someone is tangled up or held up, and they can't do anything more than feel kindly toward the Aries, but they really can't they can't offer the love They can't be a partner right now, is what it says. They can't be a part of Aries' life. I mean, this person, maybe it's someone who's incarcerated. That hermit card is almost like somebody who's they're a little bit against their will, kind of confined. But sometimes the reason we get confined is because we just got to do some work on ourselves. It may not be anything like, incarceration for this character. But I said, what's the best advice for the Aries currently, given that someone who loves them very much, but admittedly is not there in their day-to-day life? And this says Aries needs to keep moving forward. The Fool card is here, but I love this Fool card because we got two dragons jumping into the vortex here, going right through this portal, if you will. The Fool card is very much a leap of faith forward. This is Year of the Dragon, hence my little dragon. I was in a dragony mood. I'm celebrating still the new year, even though I've already done that. The Year of the Dragon comes up a ton lately in all of my storytelling, I notice. So I feel like it's kind of a momentous year for change, for not being sad and burdened by things that haven't worked out perfectly, but instead forging ahead and saying, you know what, I'm going to take the best energy that's out there, which is if I know somebody cares about me, I know that they actually love me, I'm going to carry that. Oh, what is that song? I'm carrying your love with me, West Virginia down to Tennessee. I'll be moving with the good Lord's speed. I know it's a country song. It might be George Strait, but I don't think so. Anyway, somebody please fact check me. Great song though. It's kind of like no matter what, keep on moving. This is a year to take the good stuff, to listen to the intuition, and then to forge ahead with kind of like excitement. The Year of the Dragon is kind of a year for exciting things, not to be stagnant, not to, wish for things that aren't ready to be ours yet or not ready to come into fruition. We get the Hermit and we get the Four of Pentacles. It almost says that if Aries keeps moving forward, that person on the Hermit's journey, even though they are, how do I say this? They're going to hold on to Aries regardless, even during the times that they still have to continue on their journey. They're not walking the same path that Aries is. Why is that? I have to ask, hang on. Why is it that they can't walk the same path? Or is it that they could if they see Aries continuing to move forward? You notice how they're turning around like, hey, wait a minute, what are you doing? I mean, I thought I couldn't join you, but what do you mean? You're going over there? You're going through that portal thingy? Well, maybe I want to do that. Maybe I could go your way. Maybe I could. I don't know. They're holding on to Aries for sure. They're looking back over their shoulder. But why do they first assume they can't go where Aries is going yet? They still have to love Aries from afar, not really be with Aries yet. And it says Ace of Swords, Nine of Wands, Seven of Wands. They're still on some kind of a completion journey. They're almost done. But I think, okay, let me use this as an example. If we've ever hurt, let's say we sleep with our neck crooked and we wake up the next day and it's like, oh my gosh, I can barely move my neck. And then if we continue to imagine that my neck is really stiff and we stay in that mindset for days on end, pretty soon we're just holding our head in that funky, crookedy neck position when the pain maybe has subsided, the muscles have relaxed. But unless we think about it and go, wait a second, oh yeah, it's not so stiff. Okay, I can move my head naturally. Sometimes we start bracing and we keep thinking that we're not healed when we're pretty much good to go. And that's what I think is going on here. Initially, this character couldn't join Aries. For whatever reason, initially they had burdens. They had stuff they needed to work on. They were on a hermit's journey for a very good reason. They probably did the honorable thing in not trying to get with the Aries at a time where they really needed to work on themselves. But this says they're pretty darn close to being done. We got the Nine of Wands, but they're still hanging out in the Dragon Cave. This is the year for them to come out of the Dragon Cave, to cut themselves free of the idea that, oh, I still have to be on the Hermit's journey. I there's a blockage. I can't possibly get out there. Oh, JJ, thank you, sweetheart. And hi, Wendy. Good to see you, sweetie. They, it's so funny how we can literally see in these two cards, we see them hanging out in their dragon's cave, right? Here we see their little tail. Here we see the whole of them. They've already done a lot of work on themselves. Now they have to realize they don't have to stay on the hermit's journey. They could come back around to Aries, but it's almost like Aries has to keep moving forward in their own life, go right into the portal, start changing stuff, start living large, start going after other hopes, wishes, dreams. I mean, Aries could be moving this year. They could be traveling this year. They could be making big plans in their life to change some stuff up. I really feel with the dragons flying into a portal, I really feel like the Aries might be thinking about or posting about or sharing like I'm gonna be moving. You know what? I really want to make some changes in my life. I'm gonna do that. I'm gonna do different stuff. And it almost feels like that's when they look back over their shoulder and they're like, wait. I mean, I was the one on the hermit's journey. It's easier to be the one who's always leaving than the one who's about to be left. That's what I would say this makes me think of. It's good that Aries keeps moving along, not out of spite, not out of meanness, not because they're devastated. Oh, this character is still out there working on themselves, so I'm devastated and now I just have to, trudge along in my tears. No, this is super exciting. This is Aries like full speed ahead, making their life awesome. If anything, knowing full well, I know that person loves me, but I can't speed up their journey and get them ready to come with me. So full steam ahead to my own life. I'm picturing somebody who's like the train conductor, and I'm hearing the whistles blow, and I'm seeing the like Aries is the conductor, and you see the wheels start to turn, and the smoke's coming out of the smokestack, and this person is kind of like, wait, they really are leaving the station. Like Aries is really going. Why am I going the opposite direction? Like I want to ride that train. That there's a little sense of excitement combined with a little bit of like they're second guessing themselves. Wait, do I really still have to be on the hermit's journey? Could I maybe go with Aries instead? Is that possible? Come on, character, you can get into this. We got the Empress, we got the Queen of Cups. Let me put it this way. The more the Aries keeps moving toward their own life, the hotter, the sexier, the more desirable, the more amazing they're starting to look. Not even just to this King of Wands, but possibly to other people as a whole in their lives. The more Aries is emotionally like stable and loving their life, the more they're mastering things in their life, the more they're excited about their life. Basically, the more they build themselves into a stronger, more competent, more self-assured person, the greater the catch they are. All they're doing by moving forward is making themselves 10 times more attractive, 10 times more sophisticated or educated or, adventurous or whatever it is. So it's just really nice to see all this action, all this motion, all this, energy. That's where they get real damn interested. All of a sudden, they're spying, they're watching Aries' every move, they're trying to figure out. See, back in the past, they loved Aries, but they had to be on their hermit's journey. Don't you see? I love you, but I can't. And it's like Aries shrugged and said, all right, you love me, but you can't. Then I got to go. And it's not out of meanness. And Aries just carries on. That's when like I said, they're the ones kind of being outpaced now. They're the ones that are seeing Aries train pull out of the station. It's them being left behind. It doesn't feel good. They're not in control of this anymore. Now the person that they love is moving away from them. They're not staying away from the person that they love by their own, motivation. Now the power has shifted. It's in Aries' hands. It's making them look a lot at Aries. What does that mean? Of course, Three of Cups. Who's Aries with? Are they having a great time? Are they meeting other people? All of a sudden, Aries' life becomes a focal point of where is Aries at? Before they were in their silent journey, they needed to pay attention to their own life. They didn't have space other than to love Aries from afar. Now that silent little journey doesn't seem so important. They want to know where the party's at and what party is Aries at and what hot little outfit are they wearing or what sexy three-piece suit are they in. All of a sudden, their focus changes. Eight of Swords in the reverse. Suddenly, they're not so stuck on the hermit's journey. Suddenly, suddenly they get dislodged from their former thought process that they had to do things in a certain way. Funny, funny, huh? Where sometimes the thing that gives someone the splash of cold water in the face is, the thing that snaps someone awake is the fact that Aries is living their really, truly their best life someplace else, is moving on, is having adventures, is taking solo vacations, is going out and doing, sincerely doing the things that they want to do for their own life. And that is the splash of cold water in their face that makes them aware. I don't want to be the person on this silent journey. I want to be with the person I care about, the person I've always cared about. Is there a way to lay down these burdens now? I don't know why, but we keep going back to emotional stuff. And I say that because we have like this giant octopus tentacles with this Ten of Wands. Ten of Wands is already like the burdens that we carry, feel, fear, guilt, shame, remorse, all of that. But when we couple it with the sensitivity of an octopus, because they're very sensitive creatures, I'm just going to say, for whatever reason, this character has really struggled with laying down emotional burdens. Maybe they're super warm and loving, but there is something super sensitive about them. Um, and on one hand, I want to be super gentle and compassionate with our character. On the other hand, they were kind of paying so much attention. So, okay, this character has a lot going for them, but they got so, I think, hung up in their own head about things that were imperfect about themselves that their whole focus became self absorption. Not in like a, I'm the most important person in the universe, but rather, my flaws are the most important things. And although I love you, I couldn't possibly put you through dealing with my flaws. But if we look at that a little more under a microscope, doesn't that become someone who kind of has overinflated their own importance to an extent where it's like, it's so funny how we have the spectrum of someone who's self aware versus somebody who's hyper aware, and they magnify everything about their life to the point where they imagine, I shouldn't, even though I love you, I shouldn't put my burdens on you. I should just go think about my own self for years on end. And at some point, it's like, but wouldn't that be cheating themselves out of an amazing relationship? Also, assuming that somehow their love for Aries wouldn't be enough. Also, it's a lot of assumptions to make when we're too hyper focused on maybe our own perceived flaws. Um, I don't know how else to say that other than it looks like this character has needed to get out of their own way a little bit. And seeing Aries kind of shrug and move on and say, I know that they love me, but I can't make them get out of their own way. So I got to move on. And that's when they do kind of minimize maybe, and maybe come back to center, right? Like I said, the one end of the spectrum is no self-awareness, the other one is hyper focus on oneself. Somewhere more in the middle is would be the happier space, perhaps. And I think Aries moving on and living a good life and not worrying about, I don't know, if they're not coming toward me, that's all right. I'm not going to think it's my fault. I'm not going to focus on it. I know they do love me, but I can't change them. And if they don't want to change something, that's on them. They have the right to do that. This Aries is not a micromanager. This Aries is not somebody who doubts their own, attractiveness. This Aries is not somebody who thinks everyone else's actions are somehow their fault. This Aries seems to be pretty self-possessed and pretty much like, hey, I give people the freedom to do what they need to do for themselves instead of saying, how could you do this to me? Don't you know you're hurting me? That is such a refreshing Aries character to see. I mean, a refreshing character to see at all, but that's I don't know. I think that this Aries is kind of showing this person maybe a little different way to consider living, and I think it's having a beautiful impact. So I'm going to leave that story there. You guys, thank you so much for hanging out. Hey, Alana, good to see you. Back at you, darling. Rachel. My hair is the product of hours and hours of outside time, and bad things happen. But thank you for accepting me as messy as I am. Bye, guys. Take care.